Brace for impact. High Fleet Leviathan has finally arrived. Hello and welcome to The Lucky Roll, an eclectic channel for eclectic games, and today we're very happy to be unboxing Leviathan, which is the new 10th edition set of Warhammer 40k. Now, as you can guess from the image here in the front, the bad guys this time around are the actual Tyranids, High Fleet Leviathan. And the other interesting thing about the image here is, of course, the Terminators. So when 9th edition came out and 8th edition came out, there was a kind of a revamp of the Space Marines. They made them a little bigger and called them Primaris, but the Terminators were left alone until now. So this new box set, of course, will be showing us not only the brand new Terminators, but also the brand new models of the Tyranids, which was an old beloved faction in Warhammer 40k, but the models were a little bit old and needed a little bit of love. Now, as you can see here, you get a total of 72 minis in this box, so it is a massive box. And it's not just Tyranids you get, of course. You also get a brand new Dreadnought, a new Apothecary, and these are the Terminators here in the bottom, along with a kind of a captain in Terminator armor, and of course a librarian in Terminator armor. So there is a lot to this box, and it's something that I am very much looking forward to opening and unboxing for the very first time. So it is a big box. As you can see, there is quite a lot in this. So with no further ado, let's open this box and see what we have inside. So, opening the box for the very first time, we are greeted with the poster, which is used to kind of keep the sprues and other bits and pieces safe. Now, I was actually quite lucky this time. In a lot of cases, these posters get damaged or they would have holes poked through them. Now, that is their actual job. It's designed to protect the bits and pieces inside. But they do kind of, in their own right, are quite nice little posters. So, I'm lucky in the sense that this one certainly survived its journey to me. And we have here all the plastic crack you could ever hope for. So as you can see, we have Tyranids, we have the massive brainbug Tyranid here, we have the Dreadnought here. So we'll have a proper look at some of these in a little bit, but as you can see, there is a ton of sprues here. So you have a lot of Tyranids. We have a lot of Space Marines. These are the new Incinerator Space Marines. These are, I think, the captains and the lieutenant. We have more Tyranids here. We have the winged Tyranid here, and possibly the captain and Terminator armor here. We have even more Tyranids again here. So there is 72 minis, of course. We have more of the Incinerator lads here. And I think we would have possibly the Apothecary and some of the Stern Guard veterans here. So we also have another sheet which is used to protect your bits and pieces, and here inside we have the book. Now this is a very big, heavy tome. It has a nice little sealed bookmark to it. Yes, of course, this is the instruction sheet. Now the book itself, yep, it's a nice big heavy quality book, and I'm just going to slide off the little sheet here and have a look at the quality of the actual pages. No doubt it'll be top tier because Games Workshop always goes above and beyond on these. So you have here a massive tome. So 6 to 13 is just covering the hobby. 20 to 75 is kind of the lore. 76 to 199 is the forces of the 41st millennium, giving you a little bit of aspect of it. You have the core rules after that, so it gives you the rules for combat, patrol, and crusade, and then it's generally 332 pages in total. Absolutely stunning looking book. Some new artwork. It has the introduction to the hobby here. It gives you different aspects and guides on collecting. So I'm just going to zoom out a little bit so you can see. I'm not going to go through the entire book, of course, but it's nice just to see the first few pages. The book is astounding, and of course here you have the Dark Imperium and some beautiful classic old school artwork. So this is a read I'm very much looking forward to tonight. You have here, of course, the Imperium, the new state of the universe with the Caledix Maledictum here in the middle. And what's interesting is not only is the Imperium kind of split in two with the Caledix Maledictum, you have coming in from the western fringes, from where they never expected them to come, was the Hive Fleet Leviathan and different types of tendrils coming at them. So the poor Imperium is literally being assaulted on all fronts. So you have the Imperium Sanctus, you have the Imperium Nihilus, which kind of goes into different aspects. You have the introduction here to the Emperor of the Mankind, the rule of the Imperium, which of course is not a nice place to live, and it goes into different kind of Angels of Death, Warriors of the Faith. So you're going into a lot of different factions here, such as the Inquisition, Traitors, Xenos, the Ages of Mankind, and the Dark Gods. So there's a lot of beautiful lore here that, again, I won't go into all of it, but there is plenty of fun reading here. So even if this is your first time picking the book up, this is a handy book that'll give you a lovely kind of introduction to the whole thing, and basically a nice overview of everything, including, I'm seeing here, the Blood Angels, the Dark Angels, the Death Watch, the Sisters of Silence, the Space Wolves, you know, and you have beautiful images of the whole lot. The Adeptus Sororitas, which are kind of like the warrior Catholic nuns. You have the Adeptus Custodes, the Grey Knights. So, I mean, there is tons of information here. I mean, I'm already 133 pages in, and it's all lore. You, of course, here have your handy little bookmark, so that wherever you want to stop or have a cup of tea or whatever and carry on, you can do so. Here I'm at page 149, and it's still going into lore and introductions. Now it's talking about combat patrols here. So you've got the Aldari, so you've got the Xenos threat, which of course would all have a different section. So as you can see, you have a beautiful little selection here of the different type of monsters and Xenos that you would have to be facing. Like I saw there, the Drukhari, you can see the Leagues of Votan, a lot of different aspects. So a lot of very interesting things here. You also have the Crusade rules. So this is 3/4 of the way through the book, and it kind of gives you the new juicy 10th edition rule set, which is how we're going to be playing the game from now on, and of course the Tyrannic War and Crusade missions. So a very interesting book, one that I'm looking forward to very much to delving into. We have here the actual build guide. Now this is actually, of course, it's 72 minis, so there is a lot to be building and making here, but as you can see, it's fortunately in aspects of color, so it kind of highlights in blue what you need to assemble, what you need to make. So you have quite a lot of bits and pieces here, including the Redemptor Dreadnought and the actual characters. So you have a nice little synopsis here of all the Ultramarines, and it shows you, of course, how to build the Tyranid models. And there are some scary looking, horrible looking monsters here, with a nice little synopsis of the whole of them here on the back. So some very interesting things going on here. You also have the transfer sheet. So of course, not everyone wants to be an Ultramarine player. So if you, of course, were a Dark Angels player, Blood Angels player, Space Wolves player, a Raven Guard player, or Imperial Fists player, you can paint these Marines in your own colors and adorn them with whatever iconography you so wish. You can also, you're not limited to any of these either. If you have your own custom Space Marine chapter, you can, of course, there's nothing stopping you from kind of folding all these brand new reinforcements into your own factions. And of course we have here the Battle for Ogrim. So this is an interesting little thing that Games Workshop are doing, that every one of these, there's a code on the back. You play with the contents of the game and you record your results, and if the Tyranids win, they will have their new models revealed first, and if the Imperium wins, they will have their new models revealed first. So it's a nice little incentive for Games Workshop for people to kind of to play the game and to kind of, you know, affect the release schedule. So it's a nice little kind of competitive thing that I'd love to see a little bit more of. Here in the box, of course, we have all the bases. So like that's all the bases, or most of them anyway. And of course we have here the other bases, which if I can just pick them up, which as you can see are, there's a few nice big models in this that will be great fun to play and paint with. And we have, of course, the actual player cards themselves. So as you can see, you have the Tyranids on one side and the Space Marine Terminator on the other. So let's just open this and have a quick look. So as you can see, these are good quality plastic cards, and what I like about this is even if you can't decide on what type of game you can have, you can just leave it up to random chance and let the cards dictate what sort of mission you have. So in some cases it can be fun to kind of play a blind game like that. You can have, of course, kind of plan effectively whatever way you want to do it, but having random chance as an actual factor or as an option is a good little thing. You have here, of course, you have different gambits, so you have attacker and defender gambits, so depending on what side of the mission you're playing. You have different mission rules here, so Secret Intel, Chilling Rain, Vox Static, Maelstrom of Battle, The Ritual, Vital Ground, Scorched Earth, Purge the Foe, Deploy Servo Skulls. So there's a lot of fun little cards here that can kind of shake the game up for you. So it's nice to see these included in their own special little box. And of course, you have nice little iconography. The fact that they're kind of long, tall cards as well, I like. It's very easy, of course, just to make your standard playing card set, but they just stand out and feel a little bit more special that the cards are literally dominated by, say, even tarot-sized cards here. You have secondary missions here, a whole heap of them for both defender and for attacker. You have a small little, what I presume is a cheat guide for setting up the first time deployment deck. Basically how to use the deployment card, so that's a nice little thing. And you have here, of course, little tokens which are double-sided skulls, so I presume these can serve as objective markers or for whatever way you want them, and they all fit very nicely and neatly into this little box. So this is something I quite like, because they used to always include dice and rulers with these actual box sets, but you know, dice and rulers are not a hard thing to get, and to be honest with you, they're not something people who would be in the hobby for any significant period of time would ever have trouble accessing or getting. So this, to be honest with you, is something I'm very happy with seeing, and I'm very impressed that Games Workshop have included. Now that we've gone through all the extra bits and pieces, let's have a look at the sprues themselves. Now, we won't spend too much time on them, but we will have a look at some of the details and see what comes out that is really nice. So we have here, of course, the Stormguard veterans, as you can see with the cloaks, and this, of course, is the Phobos Lieutenant, as you can see here with the famous Phobos Lieutenant, which is cutting through all the Tyranids. As you can see here, he's been replacing bits of his armor with Tyranid carapace, and you have some fresh Tyranid blood floating off him there. So I'm guessing that this one is the Lieutenant. You have a cool little base here with what I presume is a dead Tyranid. You have, I presume it's the same Lieutenant that he has his incinerator slung. You have here another one with his double knives. You have here, of course, some of the more Stormguard veterans with what looks like to be a heavy bolter. Now, I know that maybe these are kind of dual options for the Stormguard veterans. There is an incinerator section, but the Stormguard veterans obviously come with their various bolter patterns. So as you can see, they're all adored with their little robes. You have some interesting bases as well. So these are kind of going to be nice little display models as well. And as you can see here, there is quite a lot in that sprue. So that was the first of the sprues. The next Imperium sprue, I think, is some of the incinerators themselves. Now, as you can see, this is the actual incinerator weapon itself. They come in various different guises. So it's going to be fun kind of cooking and roasting Tyranids, and these are especially going to be very handy for my Ultramarines because they don't really have that many incinerators. Incinerators was always kind of a salamander thing, so my friends Patrick and Thomas are going to be, they're not going to rule the roost with the old incinerators and flamers anymore, because the Ultramarines now have a turn with playing with these fantastic little kind of toys for cooking roast Tyranids. So this, of course, is the incinerator sprue, and I think you get two of them, so I'll just double check that they're the same. They are. It's the same sprue twice, so you get two. You get a full section of incinerators there over two sprues. The next one you have, of course, I believe, is the Captain in Gravis armor. Now, this is very interesting because his legs are completely separate here, which he's going to be an interesting build. The actual base he's on is interesting as well. Now, this also could be the Librarian, actually. I'm not 100% sure. Or it could just be a standard Terminator. But it's... there's quite a lot to it. So, as you can see, there's different legs here. They're big, chunky fellas. And we have 2 actual heads here. So I don't think this is the Captain in Gravis armor or in the Terminator, actually. This is just one of the standard Terminators, because you have another standard Terminator here, and these are astounding and beautiful looking models. You also have the new kind of teleport drop pod thing that's fortunately all in one piece here. That is how you kind of bring your Terminators to the battlefield. And you have one fella here now with the Gatling gun that is always just clamped to their arms. And you have, of course, here another one with a power fist with the actual Terminator markings on it. So these are huge, very impressive actual models. Now, this one, I believe, is the Terminator Librarian. So, as you can see, he's got plenty of iconography. You have here the Psyker helmet that goes around him. You have even the shins have absolute detail on them. You have here on the back of his Terminator armor, you have a kind of a book of, well, not a book of lore, but a book of kind of psychic spells and manifestations. You got one of his shoulder pauldrons here, another shoulder pauldron here. You have his axe, which just looks astounding here. And you even have here his hand, which has a little emblem of, I presume, the Inquisition or his faith in the Emperor. So that, my friends, is the Librarian. So we also have here the Redemptor Dreadnought. Now, it's quite a nice big piece. As you can see here, this is 1 foot, and the he's quite a big footprint, as it were. You have a lot to it, so it's going to be quite an impressive, daunting piece. What I can tell you, though, is in the Primaris Redemptor Dreadnoughts that I built recently, it was optional to kind of move this. They were kind of, you can make them open or closed. This one you cannot. Now, it still gives you all the detail beforehand, so if you want to kind of do battle damage or have this bit removed and see the poor kind of sarcophagus of the broken Space Marine underneath, you can. But you obviously don't have as many options with this actual Dreadnought as you would with the Primaris Dreadnoughts up to this point. But nevertheless, as you can see, the size of this weapon, this thing is the size of a Terminator itself. We have here the some of the Tyranids. Now, some of these are new, so Tyranids is another faction I was overly familiar with, but the detail on these things is astounding. When I first got into Warhammer 40k, I was never very attracted to the Tyranids because, well, okay, they're disgusting bugs, but the models and details of the models had shown their age, but that is most certainly not the case anymore with these. I mean, there is absolute beautiful detail and sculpture here on these. If you're someone who uses contrast paints, I'd say this is going to be an absolute dream for you, because there's a lot here for the ink and for the paints to work with. I mean, even the small little Tyranid models are just covered in detail. So if you're someone who wants to kind of do your own paint schemes or anything like that, this is definitely something that's going to have you covered. So as you can see, there is a ton of little Tyranids here on that particular sprue. We have here, this is the Tyranid, that's the fight one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move these to the other one so there's less kind of plastic competing for your attention. As you can see, this is the wing of the beast. So this is the winged beast Tyranid, which comes in several different pieces. He is... I don't know the actual name of it, but it was one of the standout pieces of it. But he, of course, has a whole sprue on his own. And you have here, of course, the actual Space Marine captain. So as you can see, you've got his pauldron here, the other pauldron, you've got his bolter, you've got his legs, you've got his cape, which as something has been gnawing on it, as you can see, as would happen in the Tyranid-occupied world, I suppose. And you have the actual Tyranid base here as well. So there is a massive Tyranid monster that he has slain, that you can kind of see aspects of here. You have more Tyranid models here. Now again, it's a kind of a mass of tentacles and stabby bits and pointy bits, but again the detail is absolutely superb. And even more Tyranids here again, a mass of pointy, spiky, nibbly knobbly bits. And another sprue, the exact same, again, massive nibbly knobbly spiky pointy bits. And the last 2 sprues now of the Tyranids are the big ones. Now this thing is huge. I have a fairly average sized hand, but as you can see, this brain bug, sorry, it's not the brain bug, this is the guy who he's like one of the Starship Trooper bugs that he kind of pollutes the land with this stuff. I think he hoovers up the biomass and kind of changes the landscape. So he is a huge sprue all of himself. So fortunately, he's going to be easy to put together because he's in 2 major halves, and of course you adorn the limbs as you do. But nevertheless, he's going to be a very impressive model because this is quite a big chunk piece of plastic. And you have, of course, here now, this is where the brain bug is. The one that kind of has the psychic emanations, and as you can see, there's lots of tentacles and other grim, horrible looking things out here. So I've never really painted Tyranids before, so this is going to be a steep learning curve for myself, learning how to use these Tyranids, these bones, these kind of tentacles and all sorts of things to the best of their ability. So you even have some really cool terrain here, like that. This is just a random pipe that's stuck out, so they've literally laid waste to everything. So there is just a mass of detail here, and I think this is the Carnifex one. This is the guy who has the 4 arms. Now this is 1 arm, and it is, again, this is bigger than the Terminator. The Terminators are big. This thing is about the size of 2 Primaris Space Marines. So that's just one of the arms of this guy. The other one's over here. So he's not someone whose mother you want to kind of wantonly insult in front of him without consequence. Again, beautiful models, beautiful detail. So there is a lot of really cool things in this box. So that, ladies and gentlemen, was everything in the Leviathan box set. But what I should point out is we didn't just pick up 1 Leviathan box set. We picked up 2. Now, I'm not someone who needs 2 boxes, so who knows, if you stay tuned to the channel, you might find out about an extra special giveaway that we'll be announcing very soon. Not that I'm giving you any hint as to what that giveaway might be at all. So, as always, if you enjoy these videos, please like, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. And until next time, this is Sean from The Lucky Roll. Good luck, God bless, stay safe, and for the love of the Emperor, don't get eaten by a Tyranid.